kind of previewing the Chicago Sports Spectacular and just kind of talking about a possibility to be able to meet up for anybody that might be going to the show. So let me just go ahead and get started with sharing my screen here and just show you the Chicago Sports Spectacular homepage. If you're interested in going, this is what it looks like. It's going to be this weekend coming up on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the Donald E. Stevens Convention Center, which is the same place where they have the National. It's typically on the floor, the second floor, but not always. Sometimes it's been on the first floor, depending on the size of the show. So I'm going to go on the Friday, which opens up at 3:30. Just kind of scrolling through the page real bit so you get a chance to see it. They do have people signing autographs each and every day. Peyton Manning's probably the big guest that they have coming, as well as Brett Favre. See, there are going to be people signing Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Some people are signing for more than one day. The trade night's going to be on Friday from 7 to 11:30 p.m. if you want to do that. And as I mentioned, it is going to be on here's the ticket prices. It's $15 for able to get in for general admission, $10 for kids. Kids 5 and under are free. You can get a 3-day pass there if you want, if you think you're going to need to be there 3 days. There's VIP passes as well for the show, which are much more affordable than they are for the National when it's here in Chicago. I'm going to be here again on the Friday, so there's the hours for Friday, 3:30 to 8:30. If anybody would like to meet up before the show, there's a Starbucks when you first walk in there. I'm going to get there about 3 o'clock and maybe pick up a coffee before the show. So I'll hang out in there if anybody wants to come find me before the show and walk around for a little bit. I'm happy to do it. Be looking forward to being able to meet anybody that's going on Friday. I have a friend that's potentially going to come and join me there too. So I look forward to kind of seeing more people on the public there if you're interested kind of finding me. Otherwise, that's the only day I'm going. Otherwise, I won't be there on Friday and on Sunday. So I'll just stop that screen share a little bit. I've had a lot of luck going to that show. I've gone to just about every one they've had for the last couple of years, and I'm usually able to pick up a lot of cards from my sets. I'm putting out my checklist already. I have those ready to go. I'm going to be primarily looking at picking up cards for the 48 Bowman and 53 Bowman color sets. I'm also dropping stuff off for grading, so I wanted to show you that real quick too. And if I find any diamond stars that I can find at affordable prices that are already graded, I might pick up some commons for the set. But that's about it. Those are kind of things I'm going to be working on. Not too different from things I've been working on over the course of the year. Also wanted to let you know, next Wednesday, RJ and I have talked about putting together a live stream the night before Thanksgiving, just kind of doing one that's things we're thankful for in the hobby and opening it up for the community so you can kind of jump on in. We'll open up the live stream so people can join us live on camera if they want, or you can just kind of join us and comment throughout the video. I'll probably send out more information about that after next weekend. So I'll do obviously a video recap of things I pick up at the card show as well. And hopefully I'll get around and take some pictures and some brief videos I can put in there for people to enjoy. All right, so I did mention SGC is actually going to be at the show. I had to reach out to them separately. I don't see them advertised on the website just yet. But I sent them a direct message saying, are you going to be at the show? And they are going to be there, at least on the message I received for take-home submissions. So they're not going to do on-site grading, but you can drop things off just like you did at the National. And it's going to be $15 a card, just as it is if you were submitting from your house. So I got some cards ready to be able to submit. I'm going to show you some images I took of those real quick and explain just why I selected these cards to do it. So I'm going to present here and go into share screen here. I have to actually go into part of my email here real quick to be able to kind of pull up those pictures. So let me do that first. So the first one I got here is all cards that are pre-war. I picked these ones in particular because I've had some of these in my collection for a while. So I have Hal Chase here, a former batting champion and one of the players that's also banned for life by Major League Baseball. I have his T206 card, and I've had it for a while, so I'm going to submit it. I'm not expecting much higher than a 1. I'm expecting probably 2s and 1s for these 33 Gaudy cards, 2 of which are Yankee players, so it's kind of cool to be able to add those into the set. I feel like the reason I added those is just because, including also the Hal Chase, these are like iconic sets, and these are cards from the sets. So I thought it'd be really kind of cool to have those all kind of slabbed up. You could ignore the prices you see here. These are just card savers that I'm willing to get rid of because people put prices are wrote on them, so I can't get it off, so I can't reuse them for my personal collection without those showing. So I'm like, those are perfect ones to give away. And then finally, I've had this 1940 play ball, which I think is the first pre-war card I ever bought. And I've had this little poison waner for several years. So I'm happy to be able to kind of send the Met one in and see how it gets graded. Next, I have a collection of 52 Topps cards, only one of which is a Hall of Famer, and that's the Red Shandies. And I'm not expecting a high grade on this card either because it's got a decent crease. But hey, I have a Hall of Famer, so go ahead and get that slabbed up. The other ones I'm expecting maybe about 3s and above. They're commons for the set, but again, it's an iconic set. People buy these if I were to sell those as graded. But these are going in my personal collection of just 52 Topps cards. I really kind of enjoyed the design in the set. I'm not really actively working on it, but I will pick these up from time to time. And I'm happy to be able to kind of submit those in for grading. And these are probably the 3 best copies I had. And the Red Shandies I did because he's in the Hall of Fame. And as I mentioned, I've been working on the 53 Bowman color set. These are cards, Hall of Fame players or managers that I don't have graded at this point and I've had in my collection for a little bit now. Most of these are actually kind of picked up. Actually, about half of them were picked up at the Chicago Sports Spectacular in the past or at other card shows. So we got Ashburn, Monty Irvin, Leo DeRocher, Lou Boudreau, who's actually a local to this area. George Kell down here in the corner. That one's a little hard to see because the light was shining off of it. Ralph Kiner, Ina Slaughter, and then we have the dual image of Billy Martin and of Phil Rizzuto. Sticking with the Phil Rizzuto theme, I got a couple of Phil Rizzutos in this other submission of other cards from the 50s. We have another Ralph Kiner here when he played for the Cubs in 54 Bowman. We have an off-center Phil Rizzuto, so I'm not expecting a good grade on this one because of how off-center it is. But actually, the edges and the corners are actually really good with the card, and the color is really good in the registration. It's just so off-center. I'm not expecting a high grade. The Duke Snyder kid wrote out this at some point and put CF in there to designate center fielder, and then tried to remove it with a pencil, or eraser, I should say. So this one I'm expecting to probably get an altered authentic on there, and that's perfectly fine because otherwise it's a really good image with good registration and it's mostly centered for the most part on the card. So happy to probably get that one. These are ones I've had for a long time in my collection. Then we have a 55 Bowman Phil Rizzuto down here who's got great centering, great corners, great edges, but there is a crease running through the middle of the card, which you see very common on these 55 Bowmans, that they've creased through the middle over time. And they just seem to be a little bit more delicate card stock than some of the Topps of that era and even some previous other Bowmans, and are prone to kind of bending in the middle for whatever reason. Then we got Ed Matthews from 56 Topps. Happy to get that one. There's roller marks on the back, so that's what kind of takes a little bit away from the card. And there's an indentation in here that you can't see through the camera, but you can see with the naked eye. Then I have Ted Williams, 58 All-Star. Not a hard card to find by any stretch of the imagination, but it is Teddy Ball Game, and I wanted to be able to kind of get that one graded. So I submit that one. And then finally, the only modern cards in this order are going to be, we have the 2001 Bowman Heritage Rookie of Albert Pujols. I've mentioned this card before on the channel that this actually is a short print. Both he and the Ishiros are short prints, so this is actually a pretty affordable short print you can add to your collection of a Hall of Fame player. It's become a more popular card in the last year and a half or so. I'm happy to have one in my collection. It's got some edge wear and it's off center, so I'm not expecting probably much higher than a 6 on this one. But I just wanted to kind of add that into the collection, so I have that with my existing rookie card of his already. And this goes with my 48 Bowman project. Again, as I mentioned before, this was in the Heritage product as well as an authentic autograph of Warren Spahn. Only he and Bob Feller were players from this Hall of Fame players from this set that signed for that Topps release. So once I have this one done, then I have it. I'm hoping to have the auto grade out pretty well, but we'll see how it goes. And I'm happy to be able to add that in a collection. And so those are the 25 cards I have ready to be able to submit at SGC, and hope we'll get those back late November, early December, probably at the latest. And I will show you how I did on there. Again, not expecting anything too crazy. You may have noticed that I haven't really put a lot of modern cards in, or 1960s cards in there, or 70s cards. They're coming. I hope to be able to kind of get those in future orders. I do have a lot more cards that are ungraded from those years, and cards from sets that I've completed that I might go back at some point and pull out and submit for grading and get some grades back, which I know will kind of increase the value of the cards, but just also will make them a little bit easier to display and things like that when I'm not needing to pull out the full binder to be able to do it. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed this little brief preview coming up of the Chicago Sports Spectacular. Again, I'll be there on Friday. Meet at the Starbucks when you first walk into the convention center. That's in there at 3 o'clock. I'm hoping to get there about that time. If you want to meet me and walk around the show together, I'd be happy to be able to meet you. And feel free to kind of just put your information kind of in the comments that you're going to be coming if you want. Otherwise, just kind of show up unannounced. That's fine too. Again, looking forward to it. And hopefully everybody has a great time at the show. So enjoy the rest of your Sunday.